como siempre hacemos en esta casa, José, intentamos contar con los mejores y, como decías, tenemos un protagonista de excepción. Ya contamos con Lark Davis, fundador de Wealth Mastery. Hi, Lark. How are you?
Doing very good. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Lark. Thanks for coming here in Negocios TV in an historic day for the crypto industry, more than anything for Bitcoin. I want to ask you about this Bitcoin ETFs approval. What do you think about it and the volume we are seeing in the first day?
We've seen almost $4 billion already on the first day in volume. It's an incredible day for the entire cryptocurrency industry, but it's an incredible day particularly for Bitcoin. 15 years after one of the earliest Bitcoin developers, Hal Finney, wrote that he was running Bitcoin, we now have our Bitcoin ETFs. This is a massive moment for the cryptocurrency industry because it's regulatory approval, it's regulatory compliance, it allows institutions and funds and family offices all the ability to get into Bitcoin. So it's a massive moment. It's one that the industry's been fighting for years, so it's definitely a moment to celebrate.
As you said, Lark, this is a moment to celebrate, but we are seeing some bad news. For example, Vanguard, Citi, there are a lot of entities, a lot of banks that are blocking the trading of this ETF. What do you think about this? Do you expect something like this?
I'm not surprised. Vanguard, for example, was very vocal early on that they were not going to pursue any kind of cryptocurrency-related ETF products. There's always going to be players who are not going to be comfortable with this, but I think the reality is for Vanguard or any of the banks or brokerage firms that don't want to let their clients trade or hold or invest in Bitcoin, they're going to lose business because BlackRock and Fidelity and all these others are there very open, very hard, trying to get that business. So I'm not surprised to see Vanguard, who's been anti-crypto for a very long time, to come out and again be even anti the fully regulated, fully compliant Bitcoin ETF product. It's just, at this point, them being stubborn.
Lark, what do you expect for Bitcoin in this year? There are a lot of predictions. For example, Casey Wood is talking about more or less 200,000. What do you think for Bitcoin? Will we see another maximum in Bitcoin?
I think 2024 is going to be a very interesting year because we have so many catalysts. Now, that $4 billion in volume that came in today for the Bitcoin ETF products, that was volume that's been waiting to come in. So that was a bit expected. However, the long-term picture of these Bitcoin ETF products has a massive price impact potential because suddenly what you're going to see is all the big sales teams from all the big wealth advisory firms, all the big asset management firms competing to get people to be their clients. Because the long-term fees of these Bitcoin ETF products are going to be worth billions of dollars a year. And BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Invesco, they all want to make sure that people get their Bitcoin ETF. Because once people get their first Bitcoin ETF, they're probably not going to change. Fees are competitive enough. People are relatively lazy. Once you get into one product, you're probably not going to rush to change it to another. So people are going to be really pushing to get clients here. So that's just the Bitcoin ETF. And we have all these other catalysts coming up. The Bitcoin halving, for example, which is a reduction of the block rewards of the Bitcoin network by 50% is coming in April. Now, historically, that has signaled the start of a new major market cycle. This Bitcoin ETF could be pushing us a bit higher sooner. Now, in terms of a price prediction, I think all bets are off when it comes to price predictions. Now, my initial prediction for 2024 was maybe we're going to get up to $150,000, but I think that still that's in a ballpark, but it really depends on the volumes that come in from these Bitcoin ETF products. Day one trading is great. Now let's see day 3, week 3, month 3, and see what the interest continues to be from new money coming into the market for these Bitcoin ETF products, because that's going to really determine how things go for the rest of the year. We've seen wild ranging estimates from there's going to be $14 billion of new cash coming to Bitcoin in year one. That's an estimate from Galaxy Digital, to up to $50 billion, which is an estimate from one of the most respected ETF analysts over at Bloomberg. Those are big ranges in the numbers, a $35 billion difference. Now, every $1 billion that comes into Bitcoin, fresh cash, according to Bank of America, can move the price by up to 10%. Obviously, we didn't see it today, but we did have sell pressure today as well. There's going to be a lot of volatility in the early days here, but as we see more and more Bitcoin taken off of exchanges and the supply become even stricter, we could see a big price move coming in the same way that we saw it for gold back in 2004 when the first gold ETFs listed. So we saw a 400% plus price rally in the following years. It took about 6 or 7 years for that to happen for gold, but we're in a different era now. It could happen for Bitcoin in 2 years, for example.
Lark, we are talking a lot about Bitcoin. It's normal with the ETFs, but the cryptos that really are going up today is, for example, Ethereum, Solana. We are seeing a lot of altcoins really strong today. Why is happening this? There's people moving their assets from Bitcoin to another altcoins today.
People are definitely doing that. People are always rotating capital around the cryptocurrency markets, but I think the Ethereum trade in particular has just become very obvious for everybody. And we got an indication of this when we had the fake announcement on Twitter from the SEC the day before the official announcement was made. A hacker got into their account and said, hey, the Bitcoin ETFs are approved. It wasn't actually true. The next day it was true. But the market reacted in a very interesting way. Bitcoin went down, Ethereum went up, because what the market is ready to do is trade based on the signal that, yes, the Bitcoin ETFs here is very exciting. Everyone's excited about it. But a Bitcoin ETF almost certainly means that an Ethereum ETF will be coming next. So that's why we are seeing a lot of money coming into the market now, because Ethereum has not had the same kind of price action that a lot of other cryptocurrencies have had in 2023. And that might catch up now as we see people trying to front run the big Ethereum ETF, which we have a final deadline for that on May 23rd. So by May 23rd, we might see Ethereum ETFs on US markets. But that's, of course, highly dependent on how the SEC approaches that entire situation with Ethereum, because it's a slightly different asset to Bitcoin, right? There's staking involved, for example. There'll be questions around that. There'll be questions around the proof of stake network. So we might see a little more back and forth with the SEC on this, or they may simply go ahead and approve it. This remains to be seen. Other altcoins, we've had a crazy 2023 for altcoins, and 2024 for altcoins is probably going to be crazy once again, because as more liquidity flows into the top, it spreads right down through the market. And this has often been the way that we see cryptocurrency markets act. Money comes into Bitcoin, and that's the top level where liquidity enters the market. And as Bitcoin profits get made, it goes down seeking more risk and more profits. Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then top altcoins, mid-market cap altcoins, and eventually low market cap altcoins, meme coins, stuff like this.
Well, Lark, we are focusing Bitcoin also in another altcoins. Thanks for being here in Academia TV. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bueno, pues seguimos pendientes en este día histórico para Bitcoin, también para el mundo cripto en general, con Lark diciendo que ve a Bitcoin en $250.000 este año. De ojo, sería más de 1 por 5. Seguimos pendientes del mercado cripto, seguimos programación, además de la mano del mejor. Seguimos con José La Morena.